For decades, the skies have been dominated by American stealth, but a new shadow is rising in the east. Welcome to the complete, definitive guide to China's Xi'an H-20, the stealth bomber designed to shift the global balance of power forever. These are the facts about the H-20 that could completely reshape the Indo-Pacific. After nearly 2 decades of secretive development, this flying wing aircraft represents China's bid to join an exclusive club. One that currently includes only the United States and Russia with its developing PAKDA program, nations that have successfully fielded or are actively developing strategic stealth bombers. The H-20 isn't just another military aircraft. It's the missing piece of China's nuclear triad, designed to give Beijing the ability to strike targets anywhere on Earth with nuclear or conventional weapons while evading sophisticated air defense systems. With China's current arsenal of over 500 nuclear warheads distributed across land and sea-based platforms, the H-20 would complete their strategic deterrent capability. If successful, it would transform China from a regional power into a global strategic force capable of holding American military bases in Guam and Hawaii directly at risk. But here's what makes this story so fascinating. Despite years of bold announcements and tantalizing glimpses, the H-20 remains shrouded in mystery, caught between Chinese ambition and American skepticism about whether it can actually deliver on its promises. The story begins in the early 2000s, when China quietly launched what would become one of its most ambitious military projects, the Xi'an Aircraft Industrial Corporation, known for producing variants of the aging H-6 bomber, essentially a Chinese copy of a 1950s Soviet design, was tasked with creating something entirely different. A stealth bomber that could penetrate enemy airspace undetected. This development ran parallel to their medium-range JHXX stealth bomber program, signaling a comprehensive push to modernize China's entire strike aviation capability. For over a decade, the program stayed completely classified. Then, in September 2016, former People's Liberation Army Air Force General Ma Xiaotian made a stunning announcement at an Air Force Open Day. China was developing a new type of long-range bomber. The cat was out of the bag, but barely. What followed was a carefully orchestrated campaign of reveals and teases that seemed designed more to generate strategic signaling than to share actual information. In 2018, the state-owned Aviation Industry Corporation of China released a promotional video that borrowed heavily from the glossy, cinematic style of American defense contractor advertising. The message was clear. China was playing in the same league as America's most advanced military contractors. The most intriguing glimpse came in early 2021 when the People's Liberation Army Air Force released a recruitment video on Chinese social media. The slickly produced film starred popular Chinese celebrities Jackson Yi and Wu Jing, and in its final moments, an unknown aircraft appeared on screen, covered under a white sheet. The sheet was removed, and the aircraft's outline reflected in the visor of a pilot's helmet. Defense analysts pored over every frame, noting the flying wing design, the serrated air intakes, and the cranked kite wing configuration that pointed to serious attention to stealth characteristics and reduced radar cross-section. But here's where the story gets complicated. Despite repeated promises and tantalizing hints, the H-20 has never officially appeared. There was supposed to be an unveiling in 2019 during the 70th anniversary of the People's Republic of China. It didn't happen. Reports in 2022 suggested the maiden flight was imminent. Still nothing confirmed. By March 2024, Lieutenant General Wang Wei, Deputy Commander of the Air Force, was insisting the H-20 was almost here and that there were no bottlenecks preventing its completion. The specifications that have leaked paint a picture of an ambitious aircraft. The H-20 is expected to have a range of at least 8,500 kilometers, potentially extending to 13,000 kilometers with aerial refueling, enough to reach targets anywhere in the Pacific or even the continental United States. Its payload capacity is assessed by the Pentagon at a minimum of 10 tons, with analyst estimates running as high as 45 tons. The flying wing design would give it a radar signature potentially smaller than conventional aircraft, though exactly how much smaller remains classified. What's particularly significant is what the H-20 represents for China's nuclear strategy. Currently, China relies on a triad of land-based ballistic missiles like the DF-21D and DF-26, submarine-launched missiles, and air-launched weapons carried by modified H-6 bombers. But the H-6, despite extensive upgrades, remains a 1950s design with limited range and no stealth capability. Its realistic combat radius with a full load reaches only around 1,000 to 1,800 kilometers. The H-20 would change everything. A stealth bomber with intercontinental range would give China what strategists call a survivable second strike capability, the ability to retaliate even after absorbing a first nuclear attack. This isn't just about military hardware, it's about reshaping the strategic balance that has defined the Pacific region for decades, potentially allowing China to project power beyond the first island chain and directly contest the second. American officials are watching with a mixture of concern and skepticism. Pentagon assessments suggest the H-20 won't debut until sometime in the 2030s, significantly later than Chinese officials have indicated. More tellingly, US intelligence officials have expressed doubts about whether China can actually deliver on the program's most ambitious goals. In mid-April 2024, an unnamed US intelligence official told Defense One that when you actually examine the system design, it's probably nowhere near as capable as US low observable platforms. The official noted that China had run into significant engineering design challenges in creating a system that performs like a B-2 or B-21. But he added a crucial caveat. He didn't want to rely on the Chinese not being good, because they wouldn't know how good it actually was until it was shooting at them. That uncertainty reflects the broader challenge of assessing Chinese military capability. Building a stealth strategic bomber isn't just about constructing an airplane. It requires mastering advanced materials science, propulsion systems, avionics integration, and manufacturing techniques that only a handful of countries have ever achieved. The United States spent decades and hundreds of billions of dollars developing its stealth bomber capabilities, from the F-117 in the 1980s, through the B-2, and now the B-21. China's path is different. While they lack America's decades of operational experience with stealth aircraft, they've had the advantage of observing US developments and potentially incorporating lessons learned from studying debris of downed American stealth aircraft. The question isn't whether China can eventually build a capable stealth bomber, it's whether they can do it soon enough and well enough to matter strategically. The timeline has grown increasingly murky. In January 2025, mysterious images appeared on Chinese social media showing what appeared to be a flying wing aircraft in flight, alongside what looked like a J-16 fighter. Chinese aviation enthusiasts speculated this might be the H-20's first flight, but no official confirmation followed. The silence from state media, which typically trumpets military milestones, suggested either the images were fabricated or the program remains too sensitive for public acknowledgement. Meanwhile, the United States continues advancing its own capabilities. The B-21 Raider made its first flight on November 10, 2023, and multiple aircraft are now in testing. The Air Force plans to field at least 100 B-21s, possibly significantly more, giving America a next-generation strategic bomber force that will remain unmatched for the foreseeable future. The broader implications extend beyond bomber numbers. If China successfully fields the H-20, it would mark a fundamental shift in the Pacific balance of power. American military bases in Japan, Guam, and even Hawaii would face a credible stealth threat for the first time since World War II. The second island chain, long considered a relatively secure rear area for US forces, would become contested airspace. According to RAND Corporation assessments, this would fundamentally alter the strategic calculations that have underpinned American military dominance across the Indo-Pacific. But there's a difference between having a stealth bomber and using it effectively. Even if the H-20 emerges as promised, the Chinese military lacks the decades of operational experience with long-range stealth missions that American crews have built up. Designing and building the aircraft is one challenge. Developing the tactics, training, and support infrastructure to employ it effectively is another entirely. As of 2025, the H-20 remains one of the most significant unknowns in global military affairs. Chinese officials continue to promise its imminent arrival, while American intelligence suggests it may not appear until the 2030s. The truth, as often happens in the secretive world of military development, likely lies somewhere in between. What's certain is that the H-20 represents more than just a new aircraft. It's a symbol of China's broader military ambitions and the boundaries of its technological reach. Whether it succeeds or fails will tell us much about China's ability to challenge American military dominance in the 21st century. The world is watching, waiting to see if China can join the exclusive club of nations capable of projecting strategic power anywhere on Earth. The answer will reshape the global balance of power for decades to come.